Boom! Hi, welcome back, my dear fellow co-traveler. This is day number 3. I hope you had a good time since yesterday. I slept a lot, and yes, I'm ready for another adventure with my friends that we met yesterday. So let's see what else happened. Thank you for being here. Yeah, let's go. As all of this took place throughout my favorite decade, the 1980s, the general fear factors thankfully found themselves sleeping on a much, much lower scale of things, which allowed each one of us to explore the world with lots more peace, freedom, and possibilities than how my soul keeps on noticing it to be for the younger generations at hand. Yup, almost anything did go, and out of my perspective, not even the sky was the limit, and so I still do believe to this day. And so you do too, Marco. I am certain of. Ha! The one thing that I am finding myself very grateful for is the reality that we all were granted to fully explore our childhood, including teenage years, without being too much exposed to any technology devices as of yet. Danny owned the very first released Nintendo edition when our vessel counted about 12 years. Prior to that historical event, I recall him owning a Commodore computer on which we used to play the game called Larry directly from a floppy disk. Yes, a floppy disk. Do you remember those days? LOL. And prior to that experience, he owned this amazing Atari spaceship shooting game monitor, which movements we had to maneuver with a red joystick in order to survive. The latter definitely thus far is my favorite computer game of all times, and I actually believe that along with this Atari box, little Linda also got exposed to an actual computer for the very first time. Bwah! Yup. Speaking of technology, the only 3 mainstream electronic items that all my many friends and I had access to at first were 1, a home phone with a wired landline, 2, a color or black and white TV with 8 channels to start out with, which hopefully already came with a convenient remote control in addition to the buttons located at the actual device, and to 3, maybe a VHS recorder if one already decided to be that modern. That was about it. Boom. And those moments, by the way, also happened to be the times during which MTV still appeared with what its abbreviation actually stands for, a music television channel. Yes. This used to be the place on which the wonderful art of music videos got celebrated 24/7 as the only channel of its kind in Europe. YouTube is the platform into which this genius 24/7 music video streaming access idea from 1981 evolved itself into, with its enhanced opportunity to create one's own selected song and video playlist, or by simply clicking on already existing ones created by other users. Ha! And if one really feels a sense of experiencing a retro flashback, then this lovely homepage even finds itself offering many links to numerous uploaded original MTV aired recordings. Wow! The magical wonders of this ongoing technology revolution. Namaste. Looking back through those quite groundbreaking days actually made me notice that alongside with the transformation of our own vessels into teenager ones, the electronic world literally grew simultaneously with us. True fact. This realization actually delights little Linda very much, as I believe that my generation happened to be the last one of its kind whom I consider to have been fortunate for the last time to experience the opportunity to connect with nature, our fellow human and animal souls, in its purest and very minimized distracted ways. Yup, our outdoor Toys therefore mainly consisted wood, stones, sand, water, dirt, trees, bugs, bushes, leaves, and whatever else nature provided. Then every soul added each one's very own and unique skills and imagination to the given circumstances, and of our creativity mix led us into a magical world that we as a collective decided to experience at that very now moment. Boom! Thoughts become things. Further, we also started to invent our own games, which carried names like Sensenmann, Reaper, Bruce Lee, Krebslies, Little Crab, Tabea, or Schwanger mit 9, Pregnant with 9, which was based on a shocking newspaper's article that we heard of. And lastly, we created our own houses in a very long fence-like bush located in our park, which spaces apparently still exist today. Cool! Bruce Lee, by the way, turned out to be Little Linda's very first collected hero, and the invention of his name-based game travels back to the day on which one of my classmates in first or second grade introduced me to one of his movies, which her parents recorded on a VHS tape. Wow! How mesmerized my soul instantly felt the second that I witnessed all of his many amazing and incredible vessel movement skills and his funny sounding pounding noises. The latter certainly must have reminded little Linda of those precious Heidi and Urs entertaining days, lol. Well, and from that moment on, my vessel very often followed this particular classmate right back to her house after school, which luckily was located only 1 block away from my house, so that I could experience more of this fascinating and different-looking man. Thankfully, her parents owned all the few movies that Bruce Lee ended up recording during his exact same amount of years, including months, living on Earth game experience as my father's, which opportunity therefore allowed me to enjoy all his many, to me, outstanding talents in a range of different scenarios. That's right, wink. At some point, my fascination with Bruce Lee actually grew so strong that I wanted to be like him, and in order to accomplish that, little Linda simply came up with the solution of inventing a game based on his character. Of course, the most important part of its rules turned out to be that only my vessel was allowed to be Bruce Lee, and my lovely PROjECT gang members therefore ended up being predestined to play my all-time victims over and over anew. Boom. Charming bully, here we go. Wink. My fellow playmates, though, laughed and hated this game in one breath, especially Manuela, and for some reason, though, we still kept on playing it for the longest period of time. LOL. Empty your mind and become water, my friend, remains as one of his many wise teachings, and thank you for all your incredible inspirational moves. Rest in peace. Now, whenever my gang members and I felt the urge to explore our playground beyond our street and park area, our vessel then, as a next step, simply would take off with our bikes or by our feet only and start heading towards our chosen destination, with hardly even informing our families about our possible whereabouts. Quite often, none of us happened to have a real end destination idea anyway, and therefore our souls simply allowed for our many adventures to unfold from moment to moment. This form of us vanishing for a couple of hours used to be everyone's normality, and therefore our trusting parents always knew that we would return for lunch and dinner just in time, safe and sound, and that each playmate would always look out for the other as an honor code, always. And so we did. Yup. Right, Nikki? Wink. One of my favorite adventures happened to take place on the day on which our gang decided to follow our close-by creek called Ach, which is about a 10-minute walk away from our Parkweg home. It must have been on a Wednesday afternoon, our weekly half-off day, during which I believe Danny came up with the idea that we could follow it all the way to where it merges with the Lake Constance in Salmsach. By adding that, this excursion probably would turn into a super fun adventure. The walking distance counted about 6 kilometers, 4 miles from where we started, and of course everyone instantly agreed to be part of this of his proposed adventure. Yeehaw! And off my friends and little Linda took towards our fantastic ride, which ended up being filled with nature, fresh air, and some walking obstacles here and there. One particular moment actually turned into a quite scary one for all of us. Yes, as the Ach at some point ran by next to a small farm, our vessels got forced to cross a farmer's private ground in order to continue our mission smoothly. By doing so, we all of a sudden found ourselves being chased by the farmer's barking dog. Instantly, my friends and I ran off screaming as fast as we could, and the next thing I knew was that this pet decided to pick little Linda as his next scare target. Oh my, help! My wonderful intuition then quickly guided me to jump up on a small wall located right behind my back. Yeehaw! Hold on, what? Was I thinking? A small wall behind me I intuitively picked to save myself from this very property protective animal? What? You easily could have jumped on it in a snap as well, Linda. Oh, LOL. Well, my instinct thankfully turned out to have been spot on, as this seemingly dangerous pet right after decided that his scaring off job successfully got completed and that it was time for us to leave already. And so we did, instantly, equipped with a rush of adrenaline kicks, lots of laughter, and with some scary emotions. Oof. How relieved my dear friends and I found ourselves about this dog's abrupt mood change. To this day, my dear Parkweg siblings and I actually still react quite amused about this impulsive way of saving myself from this dangerous creature. LOL. Well, it helped somehow, and that was all that mattered. Once our vessels finally arrived at our planned merged spot in Salmsach, an hour or two later, we all found ourselves quite thrilled and happy about this with our own 2 feet only successfully completed adventure. Yeehaw! This spontaneous on-the-road experience definitely left my soul with a little Stand By Me feel. You know, the movie with River Phoenix and Corey Feldman. Ha! How cool this little trip simply revealed itself at. Then, as each one of us always carried some change in our pockets, we then happily headed towards the closest train station in Romanshorn and jumped on the next departing train right back home to Amriswil, which is only a 5 minutes ride away. Yes, these days absolutely are missed by each one of us. This is a given. Sometimes my gang members and I simply wished to beam ourselves right back to those magical and carefree days with a time machine, just as Marty McFly does it in Back to the Future. Oh yeah. Well, thankfully, each one of our souls carries an abundance of these precious adventures and memories within our hearts, and therefore we always kind of end up achieving our goal whenever my gang members and little Linda reunite. Ha! Yep. Right in those very rare moments, we then actually, with guarantee, instantly succeed in bringing the magic alive again, and the next thing our souls then know is that we somehow managed to transmute our then now moment right into the real-time 80s experience instead, during which we then end up recreating our big and magical universe all anew as a unit. That's right. Much love and many thanks to everything My dear magical PROjECT gang, much love. Dream a little dream for me. As already established, my soul early on into this living on Earth game adventure as Linda Wartenweiler found herself able to get in touch with her two main music and movie passions, which my beloved mother's thankfully shares alongside with mine. Yay! Well, and I'm actually quite certain that besides our internal shared loves for positivity, fun, and uplifting vibes, those two outer existing enhancing medias must be one of my favorite reasons as to why my soul chose Heidi as my birth mother. Yup. And this fact therefore made it super easy for little Linda to be exposed to them both a lot whenever our two vessels spent time together. Strike! As soon as our color TV was on, for example, she then either would pick a great classic movie, a comedy, or a mutually liked cartoon. The only genre that I always found myself really bored with ended up being those animal documentaries, which she, on the other hand, truly loved and still does to this very day. One gotta stay true to oneself, after all, right? Ha! Way to go. Even though that I am a big animal lover myself, my soul, on the contrary to hers, actually always preferred to interact with all the friendly ones on a one-on-one basis, and the same way I do feel about my fellow human travelers as well. Yup. Whenever our TV set was off, then our apartment or car mostly got filled with some fun melodies, which always kept our both vibrations and moods quite elevated. These to me precious early on provided life toolbox ingredients must have been the igniter why my soul to this day feels the most drawn towards uplifting, deep and touching music vibes, and this formula 100% finds itself also applying to any further available entertainment tools like interactions, thoughts, pictures, activities, etc., with one exception at hand. Yep, as everything exists in its duality, my soul therefore does love to get in touch with those from my end as darker perceived areas of life through the magical world of movies and during my own acting excursions. Ha! That's right! And these therefore remain as the only occasions during which I allow myself to fully dive into the opposite direction in order to explore those lower existing vibrations and actions a little bit further, as I know that I can snap myself right back into the actual and safe reality at any desired second. Snap! In general, my soul carries the reflex that whenever something or someone has the ability to lower my own energy level, that I then instantly feel the need to, however quickly possible, find a way to adjust those sudden to me as unpleasant appearing elements into a, from my end, as much happier and comfortable interpreted solution. Yup. And this is why little Linda in general tries to stay away from these kind of situations as much as possible, as life is simply too short and magical in order to pay those forces too much attention. Focus and one's precious own powers. Been there, done that, yup. In a later chapter of my many living on Earth game explorations, my adventuress actually got enticed by her curiosity to give a lower vibration reality for a few years its fair trial, though then at some point came to the conclusion that this chosen new lifestyle simply ended up interfering a little bit too much with little Linda's all-time daily desired keeping myself happy and radiant task at hand. Oops! Hey, it certainly was worth its one time ever shot for so many uncountable discovered reasons. You shall see, my beloved co-traveler. You shall see. Bang! One state of mind reality that I for quite some time found my soul driven to understand turned out to be the reason as of why an already sad and low vibrating soul would choose to stay in those darker areas by enhancing these feelings with, from my end, as depressing deceived music tunes, for example, or with putting themselves into situations which are the opposite of healthy to their overall well-being and reality experience. Meanwhile, I do believe to have found myself able to crack this code and came to the understanding that some souls simply choose to explore their living on Earth game ride, mostly in the darker area of things, and others in its lighter opponent one, which then as an effect creates different kinds of emotional comfort zone realities and results in this perfectly existing interacting equation of the magical yin and yang duality. Truly very grateful I feel by now that my soul decided to pick a high vibrating experience quest as the main ingredient for her travels as Linda Wartenweiler from the available palette at hand. Oh yeah! Thank you, my soul, thank you. And this leaves little Linda wondering, my dear fellow co-traveler, what emotional comfort zone explorer your soul, with all of its hard shows back then, and where it is these days, and where it these days finds itself floating in. Love. Now, as my mom started her own living on Earth game journey back in the 1950s, she therefore used to own and play many records of Led Zeppelin, The Doors, Uriah Heep, The Beatles, The Who, Deep Purple, and Jimi Hendrix from our get-go. And with time, she further also ended up developing a passion for Italian songs and for any other fun vibes that the radio had to offer. For my own taste, though, those from her end chosen melodies mostly sounded a little bit too abstract for my still rather brand new ears, which therefore made my soul decide to simply go ahead and start my own music taste discovery mission instead. Let's go! During this new and very fun quest of mine, little Linda, as a result, very soon came in touch with her very first star love, whose vessel turned out to be the leading voice of Kachagoogoo, also known as Limahl. Oh, how my soul instantly fell in love with this handsome, too shy, hush, hush, I do I singer. As soon as she set eyes on her angel-like face, which was surrounded by an amazing-looking blonde and dark brown halo, mullet on a page in the German trend magazine called Bravo. LOL. Yes, and this ended up being the very moment in which I instantly decided to become his fan by giving Limahl my heart along with the next beat. Beat! That's right. At around that time, my vessel must have counted about 8 years, when he just happened to also release his first solo album, Don't Suppose, and my kind mom instantly purchased this yellow color tape for her daughter right after my loving wish got expressed. Yay! From its many recorded songs though, Only for Love and Too Much Trouble ended up being the tracks that instantly lit my fire, and with all the others, my soul continued connecting on a rather unimpressed level. However, finding Limahl's face on the tape cover, which shows his very handsome vessel with a stubble beard, an ear piercing on his left-hand side, his by now iconic two-toned mullet, dressed in a black leather jacket and a white t-shirt, turned out to be the ultimate needed experience in order to feel even closer to my chosen star love. Oh yes, LOL. And little Linda actually still happens to love that shot quite a lot to this very day. Blush. Then, a few months later, Limahl happened to be releasing his probably most famous solo single ever, which is the opening soundtrack to one of my all-time favorite movies, The Never-Ending Story. that then shortly after its amazing in 1984 celebrated success instantly found itself even being added to the newer Don't Suppose produced playlist. Ha! And this magical soundtrack combination indeed revealed itself as a genius formula for my loving soul. Wink. My first female inspiration that I recall belongs to the German 99 Luftballons, the 99 red balloons, singer Nena, whom I still adore to this very day with all of my heart and soul, and always will, guaranteed. About Nena's existence, I learned at my foster family's home, as their oldest daughter Helen used to be a big fan and therefore ended up decorating her 2 bedside walls with many Nena posters. Soon after, Danny then happened to be the owner of this German musician's very first vinyl record titled Nena. And as for so many of her fans, I instantly found myself connecting with her music and energy on a soul level. The second that little Linda got exposed to this 99 Luftballons star's first few songs. Very grateful I therefore feel towards her kind and loving soul to have stayed active over the past more than 3 decades by now. Yay! Go Nena, go! My second female inspiration turned out to reside within the United States and happens to keep leading the charts to this very day herself. Wow. And this winner's vessel goes to the name Madonna. Yeehaw! Very clearly I do recall that moment in which the then famous German top 10 music video countdown TV show Formel 1 aired like a virgin for the very first time. And yes, this certainly was the very first time, as this show happened to be part of my weekly must-do rituals. Ha! Seeing that cool lady with her unique, crazy, and somewhat provoking style cruising in a gondola throughout Venice's canals definitely also caused another very mesmerizing effect onto my soul. Madonna is another artist who little Linda kept in her inspirational life toolbox repertoire to this day, especially when it comes to her provoking warrior spirit expressions. Oh yeah. With the Majesty's many powerful creations, though, my soul finds herself more gravitating towards her earlier decades developed babies. Well, for now at least. Maybe this will change with time, alongside with my taste and own creative expansion journey. We shall see. Everything at its perfect time. Smile. During this own music taste discovery quest of mine, my soul then soon came to detect that one, Australia's Kylie Minogue, appeared as the first person ever into my reality who happens to share the exact same birthday May date with little Linda, which to this day makes me sing, I should feel so lucky, 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 I should feel so lucky, yeah. And that too, my soul the most felt drawn towards those synth pop, and freestyle described beats, which I, with time, came to learn, therefore unknowingly turned me into a popper. What? LOL. One of my favorite music activities always occurred on Sundays and got marked as another very important ritual on my weekly must-do list. As the Swiss-German radio station DRS3, now called SRF, since January 2nd, 1968, keeps on playing all the weekly best-selling single hits, this hit parade titled Music Celebration Opportunity for that reason definitely needed to be attended by my soul. Back in the 80s, they ran down all the weekly top 30 hits only and made these afternoons, for that reason, turn into a very sacred occasion. Ha! Each Sunday, little Linda therefore anxiously would be waiting for her music hunting mission to continue, and this very well equipped with a specific selected tape sitting ready in its play, record, and pause holding position, located in her precious red and black tape recorder. Yep. Then as soon as some desired tunes would be released through its loudspeakers, my only next step therefore resulted in simply hitting the pause button anew at its perfect moment, and on air the recording was. Yeah! The hit parade always started at 2 p.m. and ended somewhere between 6 p.m. and 6:30. During this time frame, my mom very much so found herself self-aware of the fact to only disturb my doings in an emergency situation, as this quite finicky mission needed my fullest attention. Yes, it was of utmost importance to my existence to catch my desired song from A to Z, and any other result would have been reason enough for another trial. So any possible interruptions, therefore, could have interfered with this very delicate process, and waiting for another week in order to try my luck anew happened to be what little Linda tried to avoid as good as she could. Yep. Well, and then there always existed this 50-50 added chance for this particular song to remain in the top 30s for another week. Oi, what if not? That, of course, would have been a disaster. LOL. One uncontrollable challenge that my soul got exposed to all along, though, turned out to be the secret race with the moderator. Yes, the moderator. Sometimes he truly dared talking before the song even ended, and that to me, with no doubt, happened to be an absolutely unacceptable move. How dare he interrupting my song by furthermore screwing up my workflow? Come on! All I then, as a next step, found myself able to do in order to save this disaster at hand, ended up having made me decide to let go of my frustration and to shift my focus on all the perfectly caught recordings instead. And this positivity card trick always worked its magic. Oh yeah, let me tell you. Then, after the completion of another adventurous music hunting afternoon, little Linda therefore happily would go ahead and enjoy all her many tunes throughout the following week by further starting to learn them all by heart. Ha! 1 week later, whenever I found myself succeeding to add any open and missing pieces or piece into my collection, little Linda then finally ended up being a super happy camper. Victory! And now I am actually finding myself curious, wondering if those precious tapes are still existing somewhere in a box at my mom's house. This priceless treasure would be amazing to stumble upon one day in the future. Fingers crossed. Okay, so that's it. What we have. Yeah. Tomorrow we'll be talking about movies and other things. And yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you. I wish you a wonderful rest of your journey that you're on right now. Yeah, if you have any questions or something, you can always add a comment down there on this YouTube channel that we just spoke about. Yeah, and if I feel like it's something that I want to answer, I definitely will be doing so. Yeah, alrighty. So I hopefully see you tomorrow. My best wishes only for you. Until then, bye-bye.